The city is better than the country. Now, before anybody gets upset, I am someone who has lived in both the city and in the country. I now live in the country. Why I believe the city is a better place to live is there's more opportunities, it's more accessible. But I will be going through what it was like to live in the city, pros and cons of living in the city, what it's like to live in the country, and what are the pros and cons of living in the country. Now, what is it like to live in the city? Where I was from, I'm from Sarasota, Florida, which isn't like New York or Washington, D.C., which I will get into because I have been to both of those places. But Sarasota does have a larger population. It's a lot like Tampa. There's a lot of tourists, a lot of people, a lot of go, go, go. There's obviously the water because I live in Florida. And then my day to day, I was pretty young, but it was consisting of riding my bike to school, seeing my friends, playing with the neighborhood kids, going shopping with my mom, just doing stuff like that. Now, there are pros and there are cons to city living. The positive parts are obviously the accessibility and opportunities there. It's so much easier to find a job because everything's at arm reach. I could be driving down the road, going home, and then randomly decide, you know what, I want to go to the beach and just turn down the road and I'm there, which was so nice. And also, I could walk to my local Pizza Hut or walk to my local Walmart or Publix, and that would be great if I didn't have a car living there and I needed to get a job. Everything was in walking distance. Everything I needed was right there. Whether I had a car or not, or if I needed to take the bus, I could do that. That is another thing. There's public transportation in the city, which makes things so much easier and so much more affordable if you cannot afford gas or a car, or if you don't have a bike or you don't know how to ride a bike, or if you don't want to walk that far. Because I get it, walking isn't that fun. Now there are negative parts. There are can be a little bit more dangerous living in the city, especially if you're living in a place like New York or Washington D.C. Sarasota, in my opinion, is pretty safe. Eh. And there is obviously, I feel like some people don't really talk about is there isn't that huge sense of community that you get when you live in the country, living in the city. And there is a lot of people. If you don't like hustle and bustle, and you don't like people moving fast, and you like the slow paced life, city ain't for you. Me, on the other hand, I love the hustle and bustle. I love watching people in their own little world. I love being able to go from here to there in like not seconds, but in minutes, and not have to be waiting an hour, driving an hour to get there. I love fast paced movement, overstimulating environments. That is my thing. Now, what is it like to live in the country? Where I live is in Rockford. It is so small. It was definitely a culture shock moving here. My day to day is mostly just going to school and work, but I'll get into the reason why those are mostly the only reasons I can do those things. The positives and negative parts of country living. Now, when it comes to the positives, like I said before in the negatives of the city is there is a sense of community here, which is really nice and refreshing to see how people will come together in times of need, or if you need something, your neighbors got you, or your person down the street, or whoever. It is refreshing to see that sense of community, especially nowadays. But I will say, don't like when people are all over my business and know everything about everyone. That can get pretty annoying pretty fast. And also another thing is if you love some quiet space and you don't like having neighbors right next to you, country is for you. It is quiet, it is peaceful, and I'm not gonna lie, it is very pretty here. There are so many beautiful things. But going into the negatives, to go see some of these most beautiful things, you have to drive hours just to go see them. Same with trying to find a job here. It is very hard to find jobs because there's not a lot going on. Or you found a job, but it's a family owned business, which I love a good family owned business. They don't pay what you need them to pay. when it comes to driving so far, that's a lot of gas, and gas prices are going up, and it gets very difficult for you to pay that much just to be going an hour to go shopping with your friends. Now, at the end of this discussion, that's why the city living is better. It's more accessible, there's more opportunities, and yes, there are both pros and cons to both city and country living, but that's why I believe city living is better. The reason why everything is more accessible, there's more opportunities, it's easier to get around. It just seems more convenient at the end of the day.